How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Liberty Hour here with Ricky Navarrete. And we were talking about Principal Burns of Lincoln High School and how he's getting fired. And you gave me your thoughts on the dude and what you thought of him. And yeah, I was just starting to explain mine. I think, I've gotten to talk to him quite a lot. Look, he truly cares about all the kids of the school, all the time. I'm honestly really sad for him because I think he really cared about Lincoln. I think he really loved the community of Lincoln and the high school. And I just want to know the reasoning behind he got fired. But sadly, that's not going to be expressed to the community because I feel like if it was, there'd be protests. But I mean, it's just really sad. Hopefully, I don't think he is replaceable, honestly, but hopefully somebody else comes in who has a really cool, kind spirit. I'm just happy I got to experience him for the 4 years I was there.
True. Yeah, dude, I know what you mean.
Yeah, but anyways, away from that, because that's pretty, that's kind of depressing. I wanted to get to the good news story of the week here for you guys. So I know some people might think, oh, I'm not sure how much I believe this is actually going to be a real thing that'll last. But personally, I think it's a good possibility. This is as of today. Good news story of the week. Korean leaders meet eyeing a peace free of nuclear arms. Seoul, South Korea. The leaders of North and South Korea agreed on Friday to work to remove all nuclear weapons from the Korean peninsula and within the year pursue talks with the U.S. to declare an official end to the Korean War, which ravaged the peninsula from 1950 to 1953. At a historic summit meeting, the first time a North Korean leader has ever set foot in the South, the leaders vowed to negotiate a treaty to replace the truce that has been kept an uneasy peace on the divided Korean peninsula for more than 6 decades, while ridding it of nuclear weapons. A peace treaty has been one of the incentives North Korea has demanded in return for dismantling its nuclear program. So obviously, they're still crafting some, obviously stuff in terms of the deal and everything that's going on out there. But it really seems like that we are going to actually finally have peace over there in terms of the Koreas. And, some of it, credit, I think, does go to Trump in terms of diplomacy that when he talked to Kim Jong-un when over there. Some people called him crazy for it. I kind of was on the fence, but obviously it seems to have at least somewhat worked, and I think he deserves at least somewhat credit for it. But, I mean, hey, the closer to world peace we get, the better, and I think that this is a really good start, and hopefully that nothing goes awry with this, and it does truly end up working out in the end. But I think this is a very good story, and we'll see how it keeps going in terms of the updates on the story. But that's the good news story of you guys for the week, and I thought I'd go ahead and go over that for you. The next thing I wanted to go over, sadly getting into some bad news once again. Avicii. This was
no.
This was 6 days ago, or it was actually 1 week ago today. Avicii, EDM producer and DJ, found dead at 28 years old. Tim Bergling, the Swedish DJ and electronic dance music producer known as Avicii, was found dead Friday in Oman, his publicist Diana Barnes said in a statement. It did not provide details on the cause of his death. Now, again, this was an article that was posted last week, so there may have been updates to this story. I haven't seen any on it. If you have seen some, feel free to go ahead and comment. Let's see. This is a story that was released on April 20th. A statement, I mean. It is with profound sorrow that we announce the loss of Tim Bergling, also known as Avicii. He was found dead in Muscat, Oman this Friday afternoon local time. The family is devastated, and we ask everyone to respect their need for privacy in this difficult time. No further statements were given. Now, obviously, he was known for songs like The Nights and Wake Me Up, and had a big impact on the entire EDM culture. Many EDM artists that are still out there, pretty much a ton on Instagram posted about his death immediately after the news broke. And I just want to get your thoughts on this. How big of an impact did Avicii make in your eyes on the world of EDM? And have you heard any updates in terms of the story on his death? Just what are your thoughts on the entire story in general?
Okay, dude, honestly, I know just about as much as everybody else about the whole he was alcoholic thing, and he had problems like where he couldn't be out performing too long because it messed up with his whole system. But that's as far as I know. I really don't have a lead on exactly what could have happened to him or why he was all the way in Europe when a couple of days before that he was somewhere else and he just didn't update anybody where he was at. So I have no idea what happened to him other than the fact that I know he had to stop touring after like 2 years, which is interesting to me because a bunch of people who, make EDM, they want to make it big, they want to go out and perform and go to raves and whatnot. And like for him, he's like, no, I'm not about that life. I can't do that. Like I'll drink, but I won't do that. It's like, I don't know. I found that weird.
Well, yeah, he did get his appendix removed. I think this was 2014. That was when he had to cancel a tour after all, the whole alcoholic thing when he drunk too much. And it's just very sad. I think he's one of the top DJs in the world. And I think it really is saddening for everybody in the EDM community. Like I said, many artists like Kygo, Alan Walker, Marshmello, everybody posted about it.
Oh, I know.
And I think a lot of people, even who aren't into the genre of EDM, knew about this guy, and it shows you the impact he had on music in general. And we see a lot of obviously artists, especially lately, that pass away, and it's just really saddening. And it really brings up the fact that hey, it can happen to anybody at any time, and you really have to just appreciate the life you have while you're here on this earth.
Oh my God, that's totally what he said in the Nights. Oh
really?
Flashback to the Nights, dude. The song was just about his dad just, telling him like, hey, go out there, have fun, live your life, because one day you're gonna leave and then that's it. Like you're gonna regret not doing all this and this. So live the life you'll remember. Don't settle for less. And oh my God, it hurts because like every time I hear that now, that song used to have like a special place in my heart because it always reminded me of like back in the high school days. Because I always used to play that all the time. Whenever like there was some fun event or we were just all hanging out and having a good time at night, like going bowling or something. But then now when I hear that, now all I can think about is just like, God, what was it like for like his family to just walk in and see him like right there, like ooh, like it gives me goosebumps now. Oh, I don't know, dude. That guy was a legend, dude. That guy deserved so much praise. He was such an inspiration, such a huge inspiration. Like I'm sure most people will probably remember him like way back when he got on the radio for "Wake Me Up," so "Wake Me Up, Up." He'd like mix like country with EDM, and then he had Levels also. Levels is another really famous one, and then the Nights clearly, which is what we were just talking about. Like all his songs were just so moving, and there was just like even if you didn't really listen to him, you probably heard him just from other people listening to him because he was that big, that well known, and like that moving and inspirational. And then I swear to you, I had never ever seen like social media just blow up with like RIP a famous artist kind of thing, and just like always like go on about biographies about what he meant to them. Like I saw so many different artists come together and just talk about him for like a straight like week, and they're still going right now. Like they're still making like tribute videos to him. Like if you go online, you'll search up people making mixes for him, making little documentaries for him, making like showing lots of pictures and like when they like went to his concerts. It's just they're still like I don't know. It blows my mind how much of an inspiration this guy was, and it kind of sucks because he was an inspiration for me too. And well, now I'm not gonna get the chance to go to any of his concerts because I missed out. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
I got into it. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say a couple things on this. One, in most genres, people do start out young. In music, most people start out young, but most people, I think, in other genres don't get really big or their name is noticed until they're in their late 20s or their 30s, even for some. What I think is good about EDM genre is everybody who is even mainstream is in their late teens even or early 20s, and as long as they don't do something that's going to screw up their health or life, they have a huge future ahead of them, which means that that's tons of years for people to be able to experience their greatness. Well, for others, as there are a good amount of years to experience that, I don't think people get as big in other genres that quickly as you do in a genre like dance and electric music. Mm-hmm. Now, I was going to ask you a question. You were kind of leading into it a little bit. What you DJ a little bit, and I know you want to be like a music producer and stuff like that.
I do.
What impact exactly would you say Avicii had on your music or your
My music?
tell me a little bit about that.
I don't know. Honestly, like, the reason I saw him as an inspiration was because I kind of just saw him as just some dude who sat in his bedroom and literally, like, you know, over time he bought himself a bunch of little instruments and synthesizers and, like, little panels to make music with. Like, he was just somebody sitting there. He made a hit. He, like, gave it to a record label. And then everybody fell in love with it. And then, you know, he started making more songs for people. And then, like, it's crazy to me because, like you said, some people don't get famous till like 30 or 40. Like back in the day, like, yeah, you like when, you know, new bands came out, whatever. They're like big groups of people, and, you know, some people are like, ugh, blah blah. Like, how do I feel about them and whatnot? And then, you know, it takes a lot more like promoting back in the day because you couldn't just sit down behind a computer. You had to have like a whole band going. Like, you had to have somebody with guitar, bass, like drums, whatever. And now you can just do it all on a laptop, like right here, right now. We could just sit down, make a beat, make it sound nice, and then, you know, publish it, and then, like, everybody online can go crazy for it, and then be like, oh, we need this guy to perform, it's gonna be crazy, blah blah. So that's kind of how I saw Avicii, like, how he started off. That's what kind of inspired me to do it too. Does that make sense?
And I think that's the case for a lot of people in that genre. Honestly, I think I've seen videos of Alan Walker and stuff like that, how he started off as virtually close to the same thing you were describing right there. And yeah, so I mean, he's obviously a huge inspiration, like I was saying, not just for people who are interested in creating music in EDM, but people who are interested in creating music in general. I think that are relatively young, that, you know, knew him and were fans. And yeah, it's obviously tragic, like I said, whenever you see stuff like this. Obviously, recent ones outside of that genre in music in general are Tom Petty. Last few years, obviously, David Bowie, Prince, and many, many more. Chris Cornell, Chester Bennington. I can't believe I forgot about him. I just try to put this stuff out of my head because it's like I don't even want to think about that as a part of them. I just want to think about their legacy that they left behind and their greatness versus, you know, how they died or, you know, the fact that they pass away. So, you know, yeah, it has some impact on people, regardless if you're even making music. I mean, for me, I'm a huge Linkin Park fan, and when Chester died, I mean, I was emotionally down for a full week.
I remember that.
And yeah, so, I mean, this is just a reality that you have to face is, you know, everybody's going to die, pass away at some point. So you got to cherish a person or their legacy that they're leaving while they're here. And it's very important. I don't think a lot of people think about that a lot.
Okay. Yeah.
Away from the depression there, on to something else. I want to actually ask you. I was talking to you about this in person in relation to the Stephon Clark shooting that happened in Sacramento. I was talking about this a little bit last week on the show. Because obviously at a college campus, you're going to have some protests and stuff like that. Very good place to, you know, express your point of view and opinion. Well, at least for one side of the debate. I wanted to go ahead and ask you: have you seen any protests in relation to that when you got back from spring break? Because I know that happened when we were over spring break. Did you see anything in relation to that, like when you got back at all?
Honestly, no. Like, I'm trying really hard right now to think of anything, but I haven't. But then again, I never really have breaks in between my classes, and I kind of just go to school to get there and then get out. So, like, I never just wander around the courtyard unless I'm passing to, like, the cafeteria or something. But I never saw anything since spring break until now about, like, any protesting about anything.
See, and there was nothing at Sierra that I remember as well, and I think that I wasn't on spring break when that happened. And it's kind of pisses me off a little bit because you have, they have these days and, you know, even like some small marches over stuff that, in my opinion, is important, but not nearly as important as stuff like this. And I think this is something that should get protested. And we obviously saw it. We saw it with everything that happened in SAC around the Golden One Center that I stated last week. We saw it in around the freeways and inside the city and stuff like that. But yeah, we didn't see it outside of that really, and I think that it warranted that. I mean, it happened in other places. I think SAC is a place where people aren't usually used to, you know, something like that occurring. But, you know, I think that makes it even more important to have more people speak their mind about it. And sadly, we didn't see that. And I think we really, there was a missed opportunity there for people to express their mind on a very important issue. That's the end of part 2 for you guys. We're going to be right back here with part 3. We've got a few more things we want to go to talk about with you guys. And yeah, we'll be right back.